everyone, welcome to ADRA Asia's podcast, While on Earth.
Happy, efficient and productive.
I'm very passionate about young people.
Currently leading the disaster risk management unit department.
Over-19 is a long process.
Hello everyone, welcome to While on Earth, the podcast run by ADRA Asia. Here with me is Clinton. Clinton, who are you?
Hey Prabhu, yeah. Well, thanks for having me here. Yeah, well, I'm Clinton and I'm the country director for ADRA Indonesia.
Okay.
Previously, I was the country director in ADRA New Zealand. And before that, I actually started as an ADRA volunteer at a local church.
Right.
So I've sort of come from the volunteer all the way through to working in the field here in Indonesia.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you passionate about, Clinton?
I was thinking about this question actually,
Yeah.
and actually I'm really passionate about people,
Okay.
and but the people of ADRA, the staff, the leaders, the people who we connect to, the volunteers. You know, I love hearing their stories. I love seeing where they've come from to where they are now, and the impact ADRA's had on their lives. I love encouraging people and helping people reach their full potential. So as a leader of ADRA, that's for me is the most encouraging aspect of the job, and I guess it's what keeps me going each day, is seeing that growth within the staff and within the people I work with.
Right. Yeah. What are some of the interesting things you found about people?
Well, you know what, I just love people's stories.
Right.
You know, when you actually sit down with someone and you really listen to them. And you know, we've all been on a path, and you can relate to almost everybody's path to some degree. And I think as a leader, it's important that you do really sit down and understand people, where they've come from to where they are now. And you know, that can help you when dealing with conflict. It can help you with dealing with situations, really understanding where the person's coming from. And you know, it takes time. It takes patience. But yeah, actually really getting to know the staff and the other people you're working with. I've met some amazing volunteers, you know, and ADRA being part of that transformation, I think is just amazing. You know, we talk about the beneficiaries and the people in the field, and we see that transformation. We see a beneficiary who started with nothing, and now because of a livelihoods project or some sort of intervention by ADRA, they've been able to reach much further than they would have been able to in the past. But actually seeing it with our own staff is what I love. And so, yeah.
So, do you get time to actually spend with the communities nowadays?
Yeah, I go out to the field fairly frequently.
Okay.
And I can actually think of a beneficiary. I can share
Yes,
the story.
that was going to be my next question actually. Any story that like stands out in your mind?
Yeah, so about 6 years ago there was a big earthquake and tsunami in Palu. In fact, you were there.
Yes.
You were part of the response.
Yes.
And the whole region was really devastated. There was significant liquefaction. Houses were destroyed, sunk into the ground. Many lives lost. And there's this one beneficiary actually. I won't name who it is.
Okay.
But she was a rice farmer, and her and her husband were rice farmers, and they lost everything. The house was destroyed. They lost their livelihoods. And ADRA was able to come in and support them in rebuilding the house, rebuilding their livelihoods. And I went there last year, so it was 5 years after the disaster, and I was able to see the real change from where she was to where she is now. And through the livelihoods training, we were able to show alternate livelihoods. And through that meeting, or through those trainings, she expressed an interest in being a baker. And ADRA actually provided her an oven, provided her the utensils and what she needed to do her baking, and a fridge, okay, to store the stuff. I went and visited her last year,
Okay.
and she had a constant flow of people coming to buy her cakes and her donuts and what she was baking. And the interesting thing was, during the training, the question was asked, what's your dream? What do you want to achieve? And she said in the group, she goes, I want to have my own car. Okay? The rest of the beneficiaries laughed at her. And they, you know, these guys don't have cars, maybe some motorbikes. And when I visited her last year, she was driving a car. And we asked her how she got the car. And her business was so successful that the bank loaned her money for a car. And for me, that's real success. That's real change from where she was to where she is now. She's now running a successful business, a bankable business, and she was really thriving.
Right.
And for me, that's what we're about. That's what ADRA's about. Helping someone not just build back, but really build back better and reach their full potential.
Right. So part of being a people person, right? You know, you're interested in people, which means you care.
Yeah.
Does it affect you when people don't actually reach their full potential?
Yeah, for sure. Because you know, when you really get to know people, you can see, hey, you could reach this greatness. And maybe it's one of my frustrations is when people are just happy with the status quo and not trying to advance, not trying to build themselves along the way. And so yeah, it can be a frustration, but I just keep encouraging people and keep maybe showing them a vision of where they could be. And so we've done that with some of our staff, and we've moved people up through the office, and you've been part of that, which we really appreciate, Prabhu.
Right. Yeah. How does it affect you? How do you see, for example, you being a people-centered person and now you are a leader? Do you think that is an added value when you manage your offices, when you manage the teams?
Yeah, I for sure, because
some people, the reason I ask that, some people might say that might not be very beneficial because you might be a bit too lenient, for example.
Yeah, maybe I'm too lenient, I don't know. No, I think it is really understanding people. You know, look, I think that everybody has potential within them. It just needs to be watered. And so yeah, it's identifying that within them. There's some leniency along the way, of course. You know, you can't come in and be a bull and this and like a dictator. Actually, what you need to do is you need to be gentle with people and you need to encourage people. And so for me, like I say, sitting down, understanding people, having lunch with the staff and connecting with them at that level, you really understand what their potential is and maybe what the barriers are to reaching that potential are.
Right. My last question, Clinton.
Yeah.
If you had a superpower, what would it be and how would you use it?
Wow, okay. Look, I think the superpower I'd like to have is maybe mind reading. Okay.
Sounds a bit scary.
It is, yeah, and maybe that is to really understand people deeper.
Right.
You know, people put a front on.
That's true.
People in the church, people within ADRA, you know, they put forward this front which they think you want to see, and so being able to understand what's really behind that front for me would be good. It'd also be really helpful when dealing with donors in terms of funding, understanding what they're really looking for. So yeah, that would be my superpower, and I think I would use it for good, and try and understand how people really what they're really thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Clinton, thank you very much for the work that you do in ADRA Indonesia. Thank you for very much for making time to also be on the show today.
No problems. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you to all our viewers for tuning in today. Please don't forget to subscribe to the ADRA Asia YouTube channel and join us on our next episode of While on Earth.